Croeso nôl, and welcome to the latest episode of the Fearless in Devotion podcast. The podcast brought to you by the wonderful people at the Fat Boar Bar and Restaurant. I think we're all feeling pretty good, pretty all right this week after a 1-1 draw against Middlesbrough, who were second in the table heading into the game. Andy, have you got any promotional messages to share with us that are really important before this podcast gets underway in
Promotional
earnest? I just come to you by chance, just purely by chance.
this podcast is brought to you by Reform UK. So everyone vote no. No, the
For those audio listeners, that was a shit joke from Mr. Gulpin, just so you're without any doubt whatsoever.
Yeah, so there's the code for the newsletter. It's currently 66% off to celebrate a derby. So for the next couple of days, you can get the newsletter for 66% less than it should be. And that is because we are looking ahead to a pretty big game on Tuesday, and they're giving me a nice promotional bonus for everyone. So please, it's shaping up to be a good one this week as well. So please sign up for the newsletter if you can. I will stop sharing my screen now.
Couple of minor issues there. Number one, I think the powers that be decree that we can't call call it a derby if there's a certain amount of miles between the two clubs. So I think we'll have to take that. We'll get into that fixture in a bit, so we'll go to the adjudication panel later on that one. Also, we're not sponsored by Reform. We're actually sponsored by Britain First. So can we just get that? Can we just get that out the way before there's any more confusion? Right, Middlesbrough game. You were both there. I was sat home on the couch like a lazy fan that I am, watching on the TV. Now, I think
How are you watching on TV?
I just live in a different country.
You live in Italy, do you? Okay, that's
Yeah,
fine.
I do.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, Mario. So yeah, I wasn't there in person. You two were there in person. What were your thoughts on the game? Andy, did you, like me, feel slightly disappointed not to get all three at full time?
I did, and when I saw the team, I went, "Ooh, this is going to be tough." I thought Kakache was so good on Wednesday night, and he brings so much balance. Longman doesn't have that natural left foot, but I thought Longman came in and played absolutely fantastically. Let's not forget that we had a big shake up with Brunt going off, and that loses the balance of the team a little bit as well. But Scar came on. I thought he was fantastic. Dom Hine just keeps getting better and better. Whatever position you put him in, he's a real leader at the back. So even when I was looking at the team, I think this could be a tough one. You know, Kakachi and Broadhead, who were fantastic on Wednesday, weren't playing. Windass has struggled a little bit since his injury, I think. But you know, we went there and we did a thoroughly professional job. And the Boro fans I was talking to after the game, they said they were fortunate to get a point. It was a good defensive effort against a team that had been flying, and you know we should have probably got all 3 points. I know we'll talk more about the Kiefer Moore miss, but there's the guy next to me said, "There's the game there. Score that, and we win." There's no way Boro are coming back from that. They didn't have enough firepower to do it. So, you know, it's those fine margins. If we don't take our chances at this level, well, I know it sounds really cliched, then we're not going to win. Because I think there will always a team of that quality will always have a goal in them. So, you know, we've got to kill these people off when we can, and we didn't on Saturday, and you know we're disappointed in a result that everyone would have been delighted with at the start of the game.
Yeah, how about you, Tim? You know, sort of seemed to start the game on the front foot, to be fair. Element of good fortune about the goal, but I think probably, you know, deserved from those early opening exchanges.
Yeah, I thought we were very decent first half. Just I think we're 12 games in now. We're already a quarter of the way in, and I think that was kind of a game which kind of typifies everything you want from a Wrexham performance. Just grit, determination. He kind of forewarned it initially. Parky said, if we're going to go there, we've got to bring our A game, and we probably weren't that far off doing so. You don't shoot, you don't score. Windass still carrying that sort of ankle knock, really. He wellies it. Keeper's probably going to save it. I think it's their own defender that flicks it past him in the end, from what I can remember. But
Oh, there was a massive
yeah,
deflection on it.
yeah, big deflection. So, but I thought we were really good value for the lead. We were just knocking it around with plenty of confidence. Like Andy said, the Brunt injury could have set us back a bit, but Scar's come in, prove straight away that you know what, he's going to be all right at this level. He's played at this level before. Obviously, he'll play there again. And yeah, Hyam just moves to the left and just makes it look easy. That's what they brought him in for, is that sort of versatility in that back line, really. So, but overall, you can't really grumble about it. I think there were elements second half. He knew what was going to come. Rob Edwards doesn't change stuff that easy, that quickly. I think he took 4 subs on at the break, so clearly he was unhappy with the way things were, and we braced ourselves for that. We looked compact, looked solid. That kind of low block that we had on the go, and they couldn't really. We basically said, right, we've got our goal now. Try and break us down, and you always run the risk with that. You're thinking, how long can we do this for? And the longer that game went on, and especially after the Moore miss, everybody was like, this is going to be Southampton again, isn't it? This has got shades of that, where we're going to let something slip. And if we do, are we streetwise enough to at least hold a point? And let's face it, all of us would have said, take a point for the game. Yeah, definitely. Irrespective of like the draws for the international break and this, that, and the other, you would have took it. So the fact that we're slightly disappointed not to take all three
At
tells
Middlesbrough,
us, yeah,
we went away to Middlesbrough and we got a point.
it tells us how far we've come, and I definitely feel like we've arrived now in the championship. There's no more. There's somebody said to me in the pub. Mate Gary said to me, he said, "Look, we've got to dispense with this idea of us going to these big grounds and mixing it with the big boys, because we are a very good championship team. That's what we are. That's what we spent the money. It's taken a little bit of time to gel. It still is gelling. Hasn't quite got there yet." But I think on that showing, and a lot of Middlesbrough fans were trying to put a bit of a gloss on it, say, "Oh, that was the worst we played. We were rubbish, blah blah blah. And we're in a false position, and maybe we shouldn't be where we are based on that performance." But there's very few people kind of, I suppose you wouldn't. There's very people saying, "Oh, credit to Wrexham, credit to this." I think it's just a case now of we're not there to make up the numbers, and I think people elsewhere would have seen that we led for such a long part of that game, and go, you know what, they're having a good go at this. And I think 12 games in, with the points return we've got, it's a realistically measured approach, or a measured start, shall we say, for that first quarter. And I don't think realistically we can really complain too much. Really, if you look at the games on the whole, we probably should have a better points return than what we have, really. But like you
We get
said,
into
fine,
the
fine margins,
we
fine
take the lead
margins.
so
Andy,
often. We take the lead so often, don't we? And we can't really close out a game. And that's the thing. You take the lead, but you really need to go on and get a second to really kill an
Yeah,
opposition off. And that's the next thing that needs to come from this team. Because as Tim says, yeah, we are a proper functioning championship unit. Look at the people we brought off the bench. They must be the best 3 substitutions Wrexham FC has ever made in its history. When you
yeah.
bring on Kakache, Nathan Broadhead, and sorry, who was the other one? It was
Sam Smith,
O'Brien.
yeah, O'Brien.
O'Brien. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
what a triple change! There can't have been a change as good as that in Wrexham's history. Um, Fantastic players who came off and really, really just kept the momentum up. And the goal. So a lot of people said that Arthur should come out and be stronger on that. I'm not blaming Arthur for that. Dobson's lost his man, and it's hard to really put the boot into Dobbo, because he's been fantastic for us and he covered every blade of grass again on Saturday. But that lad's got the run on him, and he hasn't gone with him. And it's an easy header in the end. But you run the risk of being caught out like that with a silly one, because of the effort you're putting in and the fact we're not 2-0 up.
Yeah, I'm interested to hear both your thoughts on, Parky and whether he got it spot on tactically, because it probably reminded me most of the Southampton game. And I actually thought his game plan could and should have worked against Southampton, because we're, quite good counter-attacking team now, it appears to me. It's very fine margins in the fact of, if Lewis O'Brien at Southampton puts his chance away. If Kiefer Moore puts that chance away, then those two are both 3 pointers essentially. I don't think that there's much that the manager can do in that regard.
Uh, Not really. I mean, I think again, I don't think we're a million miles away of having that relentless, ruthless edge that we've had in the past that has got us to where we've got to be. Where we've molded that unit, and it is. We're not going to blow away. We're not going to blow teams away at this level as we have done in the past. We all know it. We might get a freak result now and again, or somebody might get a big freak result against us. But I think there's a point where we need to start really driving home, just being a bit more brutal on it, and just being a bit more relentless in our nature, and being a bit nastier. Because I think maybe to a certain point, sometimes we're a bit too honest at times. I don't know, but yeah, look, yeah, I'm never going to sit here and profess to know everything and anything about tactics, and I'm not going to start doing that now. But what I would say is, I think we didn't look in any real danger. We just looked really, really solid as a defensive unit. And I said this on the day, like Kabori going forward was a bit sketchy, same as he was against Oxford, but defensively he was superb. So anything he lacked going forward, he more than made up with his defensive
They were double
output.
marking him as well. They could
Yeah,
see
they've got
danger,
a
and that
wise to him,
opens
haven't
up
they?
space. Yeah, that opens up
Yeah.
space in other places. I wonder if it's the fact that this team and this squad, you almost have to teach that winning mentality again, because we had it during the conference era, we had it during League Two, League One, where we didn't know we were beaten, and if there was a setback, there was something within the team to go on and win the game late on. We've not been very good late on. We miss a Scottish Viking Jesus, really. Fletcher was great to win games late on for that, and maybe we don't have that finisher. Maybe Smith needs more minutes to try and get a few goals under his belt. Maybe this is the thing that is work in progress in a brand new team, getting that sort of killer instinct, especially late on. And I wonder if hopefully that can come as this team and this squad gels together. It's like we've almost started afresh this season, and we need to get the basics of what made us so successful back again. But we're not far off. I was so pleased with that walking out the game yesterday. So pleased, full of Parmo, and
Oh yeah, hang on. You've mentioned Palmer. We waxed lyrical about Palmer in advance of this. So please tell me, did one of you or both of you try the delicacy that is the Palmo?
Technically no, because I got there our bus got there really late. We stopped in a pub in the outskirts like really early. We got there at 11, and then we left there just after 2, but we didn't get to the turnstiles until about 5 to 3 for whatever reason. So I didn't have a chance. But Tommy Cowse, friend of the pod, give me a little bit of his, and it just doesn't quite hit the same when you nick somebody else's. Or
oh, it does.
have a bit.
It's more. You haven't paid
Nah,
for it.
and to be honest, that Dana, who was the guest in midweek, said it's not quite the same if you have it on a bun. You got to have it pure, just the
Yeah.
fillet itself without the bun. So I did, wasn't too enthused, but that's probably because it wasn't how it should be presented. But that's just
Uh,
me being a
Andy,
bit.
did you have it in its purest form?
I did have it in its purest form. I had it off a plate, and fair play. Went to a place called O'Connell's in the middle of town. It was about £7 for a Parno and loads of chips. The chips were really nice. The Parmo, I had like Tim, I had a bit of someone else's. So I had a bit of Joey, who was up with us for the weekend. And the bit I had, how can I put this? It was heavy, very heavy. So if I'd eaten the whole thing, I don't think I'd be able to move for the next
You
few
wouldn't be
hours.
here, would you?
It sounds like it just looked like you just belched part of that
Yeah,
back
I
up
know. I mean,
then.
I'd be half man, half Parmo. I don't think I would have enjoyed the match, to be honest. That would have been such a big, heavy meal sitting on you. I don't think that would have been great for the atmosphere that you needed to generate in that. And I also wind.
I mean,
So
great topic for the comment section. Really, let us know what is the best and worst grub you've had either before the football, or during the football. But if it's repeated on, when you have a curry before a match, I think that's a good idea.
I don't
It's a
think I've ever
cold
had a
day,
curry before a match.
and you go in, and you're like, and then you start gassing out people in the rows behind you and in front of you. So let us know. Let us know.
Speaking of people who are full of wind, can we touch on that refereeing performance? Tim, what did you think of that?
Oh, honestly, like it was fussy, but I mean, there's a lot of people saying that it was disgraceful. to be honest, I was more concentrating on our performance than his. So there was some question. He was very fussy. He was very fussy, and but I'm not going to mess with him. You see him? He's built like a cupboard. Guy's massive. I mean, you could kick him in the balls and run off. He ain't going to catch you, but that's not the point. Look, I mean, we could fill endless amounts of pods complaining about the referees we've had down the years. You suck it up. You get on with it. Did it cost us in the end? No, it didn't. So there we are.
Andy, you've been in training camp for James McLean. Could you fight the referee from yesterday?
Yeah, I'd like to. I'd like to shove those cards where the sun don't shine. I just thought he was a proper homer. Every decision seemed to go to the home team, and you get those every now and again. But as Tim said, it didn't cost us. There wasn't a major decision that a penalty or a red card or something that you could sort of hang your hat on and go, oh, thanks, mate. It was just little ones, cumulative, and they got on your wick towards the end, and it doesn't matter because we got the point we wanted, and nothing that he did stopped us winning that game.
And when these games are, as we're finding out, are all finely balanced, when they're always finely balanced, we tend to moan about refereeing decisions probably a whole lot more because there's so much more riding on it. It's not like you're 4-0 up against Grays Athletic or whatever, and he gets a decision wrong. Oh well, never mind. These are so you can see why. You can kind of start to understand why the managers at a higher level do come down hard on the referees and do call them out in the press because there's so much riding on it. But yeah, for me, I was just like, yeah, he probably had a solid 4 out of 10 game. But like I said, was there anything that I can truly remember that pissed me off? No. So we go on.
There's someone in terms of man of the match contenders that we haven't mentioned yet. There was a moment during the second half when it looked like Middlesbrough were in a good position to break, and then on the TV they don't really show you what's going on. Oh, we don't like to see this. Game gets stopped. The pitch invader, was he our man of the match?
It's like the commentary, isn't it? When the commentator goes, "Oh, there's a fight." No one likes to see this. I like to see it. I love to see it. He just sort of ambled onto the pitch, and he didn't really have a plan. It's not like he was a political sort of protester or anything. He sort of ambled on the pitch when Boro were on the attack, and like all the Boro fans were just going apeshit with him. But he was being led right in front of us, and we gave him a standing ovation.
There's a lot of like talk online. Oh, was he a Wrexham fan because they applauded him? Like, no, he definitely came from your neck of the woods. Yeah. So don't try and palm that off on us. And people say, "Well, you were applauding him. Must have been one of yours." I thought we applauded him because he did us a favour. And like you said, it's not like it's not like the Wimbledon final and you run on as a streaker. It's such a weird point to do a pitch invasion for nothing. And even when he's led off, he looked massively embarrassed. And I think he was shitting himself a bit because the amount of heat he was getting off his own fans.
Yeah, maybe,
like they were giving him loads of abuse. There was a couple of stuff being thrown from the stands down at him as well. So yeah,
I wonder what he thought he was achieving. He thought,
I don't know.
I love this. Everyone, wait for this.
I'll be on the documentary.
Yeah, I won't need to buy a pint in Middlesbrough tonight. And we can't go out in Middlesbrough. The only thing I wouldn't mind doing down in is going and tracking Hayden for their week. If you had gone and done that, that would have been fantastic.
Yeah, he was good, wasn't he? He was good.
He's a cracking player, him.
Oh, onwards, we're going to look ahead to Tuesday's North versus South Wales derby, and we are delighted to be joined by the voice of Welsh football, Rob Phillips, who looks like he's celebrating a birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Happy, Rob, if that's the case. Is that the case?
If only, boys, if only. Thank you for that glorious welcome, by the way. See that behind me? That's my career. It was my daughter's birthday a few weeks ago, and since I got 3 kids, I may as well just leave it up all year round. And it fits all sizes then, doesn't it? How are you guys anyway? Are you okay?
Yeah, yes. Good. Thanks, Rob.
Good.
We're still basking in the splendour of taking a point off second in the league. You'd be delighted to know. So that was
really
nice.
good point. A really good point, because Boro have been going well, and actually, I'm not having complaints about Wrexham. You probably know when Nathan Blake and I get together on our podcast, Blakey went really big, strong in the opening
Did
week, saying top
sixth?
six.
Yeah.
And we had a long trip to Bolton back yesterday, and he's still staying. And we both say Wrexham are growing into the season, and that's what we expected. And I've covered Wrexham for so long that it's not the first time they've started slowly and grown into it. It's just a tougher division.
Yeah, no, very, very true. I mean, yeah, we'll come back to those shortly. But obviously, as you've touched on it, you mentioned it. You were at Bolton yesterday. Cardiff succumbed to a very, very late goal at Bolton, 94th minute. I want to say cracking goal. It's got to be said.
Out of sight, yeah.
I mean, just to kind of bookend it, is that just a minor setback? Do they deserve more from it?
We felt it was a really good game between two good quality sides for League One. Let's say that. Both sides like to pass the ball. Both sides hold a lot of possession. There weren't that many chances, but it was well contested. Could have gone either way. Cardiff have nicked games late this season at Wimbledon and Luton and various other places. So they know what it's about. Stockport, sorry, not Luton. They know what it's about to get late goals, and they suffered one themselves. And it was an absolute belter from one of the best players I've seen in League One this season, if not the best.
Yeah, yeah. Well, let's come to obviously who both teams are playing next. This is why we've got you on. Before I bring the lads in, I'll ask a question. Before I ask that question, I'm going to do a bit of a quick quiz. Can you remember, basically, the last time we played Cardiff, was a 3-2 defeat at Ninian Park in 2002. What was the score in the earlier fixture at the Kairos? Here's one. Can you remember it? The last time we played them at Wrexham, can you remember what the score was?
Wasn't it 2-1 to Cardiff?
3-1. Close.
3-1, sorry, right,
Close.
there you go.
Testing
I'm more familiar with what happened in the 90s because
Exactly.
I was talking to Nathan Blake yesterday and telling him I was coming on this podcast. And I was saying to him, look, is it really a derby? And he said, isn't it? And he scored a couple of times up at the Kairos when it was the race course, and that fight for promotion between Eddie May's Cardiff City and Brian Flynn's Wrexham. I think they both went up that year, if I remember rightly. And there was a lot of rivalry sort of grown up then, because I tell a little story. I remember interviewing Andy Legg for a Premier Cup game. You remember that the Arthur Emmer tournament run by the BBC to get Welsh teams playing each other, and it was before a Wrexham game, and I said, built up the derby element, and I turned off the microphone and he said, it's not really a derby, is it? It's 120 miles between us both. But actually, Nathan Blake was having none of that, and neither would Jason Perry. They both felt this is a proper derby, and I'm sure that's how Cardiff will look at it now as well.
There's a weird narrative that's been weaved in recent years where people say, well, how can it be a derby when you're nowhere near one another? Like Swansea, Cardiff's a derby. But it was always referred to as a derby purely because it's the Welsh derby, the North versus South Wales derby. How else are you going to describe it? Really?
Yeah, absolutely. You could call it rivalry if you want, but it's a derby. Let's not get it wrong.
Yeah.
There are only 4 just EFL clubs from Wales. And so when they play each other, I don't see the difference between Swansea and Wrexham. I mean, we all know Swansea-Wrexham is going to be a big derby coming up just before Christmas. And this is a big derby too, even though it's the Carabao Cup. No, I've got no doubts about that.
I mean, it's been quite a while since we played them, as we alluded to. I think it's been 25 years since we last beat Cardiff. That was 2-1 in 2000. Wrexham Cardiff used to be a regular fixture from the mid-70s through the 80s into the 90s, and obviously both clubs have gone in different directions up until recent times. Recent years where we've swapped places. One's been run really well. One's been run questionably, has to be probably said,
to say the least.
Yeah, a bit of managed decline there, I think, as the saying goes.
Yeah.
What do you make? I mean, you've already alluded to it. It is a derby. Do you think that this still matters to the fans as much as it did back then? I know we're talking at different generational sets of fans now that maybe haven't crossed swords. They've crossed swords on a Wales away and so on and so forth, and a bit of banter. But Do you feel that those newer fan bases truly know what it means?
I think they will get it. No, I think they probably do understand because, as I said, there are only 4 Welsh EFL clubs. I mean, you probably saw the way the Newport County fans celebrated after that Virtue Trophy win at Cardiff a couple of weeks ago. And so that will have brought it home to Cardiff supporters as well. And with Wrexham, they're in a higher division now. So that would be the case with any fans. And you've got to say, Cardiff travel big. Like all the Welsh clubs, they do take numbers. They had 2,000 up at Bolton on Saturday. That will have a derby atmosphere, even though it's the Carabao Cup. It would be even more important if it was the league, let's be honest about it. But no, it will be hotly contested, and Cardiff will put out. I spoke to Barry Murphy after the game at Bolton, and he said, I know it's a bit of a cliche, but he does mean it. He will put out his strongest side, as he did at Burnley, because he knows what can happen. And Cardiff are not stupid. There's money to be made in this tournament, and the further they go, they haven't got a Premier League club, but actually they probably got the next best thing, a tie at a club who are also well supported, and there'll be a bit of added spice to it because, use that word again, it's a derby.
To be honest, whoever wins this, am I right? They'd be in the quarterfinals.
Quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup, and we've only ever done that twice in our history, and our last time was 77, 78. So it's another chance to rewrite a bit of history again.
That's fantastic, and so that's a big incentive. I think we'll go really strong for this as well. I think on the derby sort of thing, familiarity brings like the rivalry, and once you like Notts County, we went through a stage where they were our rivals, and while it wasn't a derby, it was the game you looked out for just because we'd played them so often, and there was stuff that happened in other games that led into the following ones, and I think that could happen with Cardiff. I'd like to think Cardiff could go back up this season, and it would be great to have all 3 of us in the Championship next season.
It's an odd thing, rivalry, isn't it? How it builds up between different clubs. Obviously, you've got Wrexham, Chester, and then Wrexham, Stockport when you're in the same division or whatever. And I remember going to Nottingham Forest and the Cardiff fans turning out in force there. And there's a big rivalry between the two clubs. Why? It goes back to the miners' strike in the 70s, where the Nottingham miners went back to work. The Welsh miners, as we know, stayed out. And there's bitterness because of that. And I remember asking the guy from Nottingham, do you get many of this? Because they were shouting various things that you would do on strike. And half the fans there, 2,000 or so, half the fans weren't even old enough to remember the miners' strike. But guy covering Nottingham Forest said to me, if you think this is bad, you want to see it when we play Barnsley. They don't forget either. So it's it's all sorts of things, isn't it? Builds up a rivalry.
Just bringing on things on to, sort of current day, Rob. What do you think has been key to Cardiff's early success in League One so far?
The manager, Barry Murphy. I'm amazed at how quickly he's changed things. Came in the summer. There was some disappointment, I think, that they weren't making more signings. Some felt that they really should go for it. There was all talk of a possible Gareth Bale takeover and all that sort of stuff. But he came in, he made 2 signings. One, the goalkeeper, Nathan Trott, who has been outstanding, the best goalkeeper in that division by some way, as far as I can see. And Omari Kellyman, the youngster from Chelsea. But what he's done most of all is just sort of really strap in the way they play. They pass, but they pass positively. They hold possession. They try to create chances, but they don't mind winning late. And sometimes it happens late because they have so much of the ball. And I don't think that will change against Wrexham. There'll be 2 different styles. I've always thought with Wrexham, and this is what I quite like about Phil Parkinson. he doesn't change his style particularly. To my mind, you boys will know better than me, but to my mind, Wrexham's method of getting promotion is you either get the ball wide and cross in, or you hit it long, big man holds it up. Ollie Palmer's replaced by Kiefer Moore. They do the same job, but at a different level. And you get people in and around who are not afraid to get in the box and build off the big man. And I've always said it doesn't take too much. There's not a lot can go wrong. You might not win every game, but there's not a lot can go wrong with that way because it's a fairly simple method. But if you get good players in, like Phil has done, then it's not easy to counter. Cardiff have gone a different way. They were all over the shop. They had no identity. That's part of the reason they went down and why they circled the plug hole in the championship for a few years, manager after manager, each one in their own sort of players, but no defined system of playing. Now he's come in, and his greatest achievement is bedding that in so quickly. And you can see the results. Look at the table.
So who've been the sort of key men for them on the pitch? I mean, obviously you've got the likes of the Colwill brothers on there.
Yeah, he's on Rubin Colwell. I find you're either a devotee or you're a total skeptic, and there's not much grey area. What I would say, I've been a total devotee. I've thought for a while they should have built the team around him because I think he can be that good. He's gone through a few bad patches, but he's really blossomed this season into the player I've always thought was there. Admittedly, at League One, let's always bear that in mind. It's League One. So he's done really well. Dylan Lawler has come in and looked to the manor born, who now made his Wales debut. He's introduced youngsters who've been proved good enough, and the goalkeeper has been outstanding, Nathan Trott. Not many weaknesses by what I can see. He'll probably have a nightmare now at the Kairos Tuesday, but not many weaknesses as far as I can see. Very good with the ball at his feet, which is what BBM, as the Cardiff fans call the manager, wants to do. And they've got goals in the side, and they got pace out wide with the youngsters, Cian Ashford, Isaac Davis. Chris Willock is probably missing for Tuesday, the other wide man, and Kellyman has come in. So, yeah, it's an interesting mix.
Yeah.
Go on, sorry.
No, good, Tim.
So much has been made of Cardiff's kind of contribution to the Cymru squad via the academy. Something that kind of Wrexham playing catch up with. Obviously, no academy funding in National League. We're still way behind the curve on that particular front. So as a result, we've had to go out and buy some Welsh internationals, which, from a personal point of view, I had great joy from doing that, especially when you bring in the likes of Kiefer Moore and club record signing Nathan Broadhead.
Yeah.
What have you made of their start to life at Wrexham so far?
Moore and Broadhead. Well,
Yeah.
I've always rated Kiefer Moore. He is similar to the Cardiff striker Yusuf Salak, and I'll tell you why. I think Kiefer Moore gets a raw deal at international level because he's robust and he fights with defenders and gets penalised a lot. And I think Salak has that problem in League One as well. But I do like Kiefer Moore. And again, Nathan and I were talking about this on the way back from Bolton. We can't make up our minds what Nathan Broadhead is, where his best position is, but I just know he knows the way to goal. I saw the goal last week, instinctive, for Wales. Instinctive strike, set up by Kiefer Moore. They've got it. They've got a lot going for them. And of course, you've got to say that Phil Parkinson doesn't lack firepower with Josh Windus. I saw the goal at Middlesbrough. Okay, it took a deflection, but if you don't buy a lottery ticket, you don't win it, do you? So I think they've got plenty of firepower. Windus is a steal, really, because I think he would have been coveted by a lot of clubs in the Championship, but the Lure Wrexham proved strong for him. And so I think they will trouble the Cardiff defence. It'll be a good test for the likes of Lawler, for Will Fish, and for maybe Callum Chambers if he plays because of the physicality. And I think that's where Cardiff will struggle to match Wrexham, the strength and physicality of the team.
Just on us rebuilding our academy. So we've just appointed a new academy manager, Gus Williams, who was at the FAW. He was head of National Talent Identification Pathway and he's done that for a couple of years. Do you know anything about Gus?
Yeah, wasn't he at Blackburn before that?
He was, yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, I know how highly rated he was at the FAW. I think it's a shrewd move, because it's no coincidence that Wales have picked up plenty of Anglos, the likes of Ethan Ampadu, those sort of players, and they benefited the Welsh squad. I think he is sort of has been instrumental in that at the FAW. He's not someone that people talk about a lot, but when you ask them about Gus Williams, they all seem to rate him. And I think that, it works in football, and that happens, that there are powers behind thrones, and he's one of them, I think. So again, a really good acquisition as the club is building, because as quick as the progress has been so far, they're not stupid, the owners. They know that, okay, if Wrexham get top six, get in the playoffs, even go up, that's unbelievably good. But they know they've got to build a club structure to facilitate that as well. So I think, yeah, it's all just another part of the jigsaw.
Rob, you mentioned that you were quite sort of relaxed about Wrexham's early form. I think we're about roughly a quarter of the way in now. What's been your assessment of Wrexham's start? Has it been pretty much what you would expect?
Yeah, I thought so. I've seen a few games that since since I don't have to go to every midweek game, I've developed this method now. I highly recommend it. You can watch 2 games at once. Courtesy, I could never mention Sky when I worked for the B, but courtesy of Sky Sports, I can watch one on the TV and one on my iPad. So on Tuesday, I watch Wrexham on the TV and Swansea on my iPad, covering 2 championship fixtures in one go. It's the way forward, boys. It's but no, I thought they signed well. You could see when they brought in Hyam that you could see the reaction of the Blackburn Rovers fans. Thought that was a really good move. I'm a big fan of Parky. I always have had, and always have been. I love the way that he copes with everything. I remember being at Gateshead when they went top of the National League. And I said to him, I'm about to ask you what it's like to have a target on your back because you're now top. But actually, you've had it ever since the owners came in. and that's what I do like about him. I mean, we've all seen what he's like in the dressing room, courtesy of Welcome to Wrexham. But actually, he's so placid. I'm not placid, but he just doesn't get too up, doesn't get too down. So the way they've coped so far, I didn't have any doubts, and I don't have any doubts that they'll be fine. Whether they'll get top six like Nathan Blake thinks, I'm not sure. But I think they'll settle to it. As I said, I think Wrexham got a recent history of always built on slow starts. I would say, I've said it before, I wonder whether the slow starts are partly because of all the traveling they do in the summer. But I'm not going to say that anymore because they keep getting promotion when I say it. Or maybe I should say it. I did say it at the start of the season. Yeah, exactly. So, but I do think that could be a contributory factor. I get why it happens because Wrexham are a brand now, aren't they? They're not just a football club. They're a global brand. And so I understand that. But I can't help thinking that had summers been different, had pre-seasons been a little bit more, how can we put it, traditional, then maybe they might have started better. But I think they're doing okay. Now they've drawn away at probably or certainly one of the best sides in the division. And so it's a way. You won't win every game because that's the championship. But I do think that there's there to be progress to be made, and I trust Phil Parkinson. I really do. And why wouldn't you? People say there's no plan B. Well, why do you need a plan B when you've had 3 promotions on the bounce and 6 promotions in your career? It doesn't seem to be too much of a need for plan B. So it's maybe not the style that, as I say, I don't think Wrexham are ever under Phil Parkinson have played glorious football. I've always thought when I go to the Kairos, when I was working regularly there, I always thought it was really noisy to start, and then the fans would sit back and say, "Come on, then, let's have a bit of entertainment. Give me a goal." And if it doesn't happen, it's not that noisy. But then if they do score, they're like a pack of wolves. They really go for it, and it comes in twos and threes. Then that might not happen so much in the championship because you're playing better players. But I do think once you get a goal, it's really difficult to stop them. Then they get a bit of momentum, and I don't see that being any different.
Let's all channel our inner Nathan Blake. Wrexham do get in the playoffs. In proper terms, do you see Wrexham joining the likes of Swansea and Cardiff and getting a season or two in the Premier League? Is that possible with the upturn they're on and the way that they manage the club? Is it possible under Phil Parkinson?
I don't see why not. I don't see why not. It takes a lot of investment, but then they were the biggest net spenders this summer, weren't they? Wrexham, 30-odd million, was it altogether? Or was that gross spend? I can't remember. Yeah. And I've always thought that what Rob and Ryan have got are contacts. So I think they understand. Well, the Allen family have come in for a start, haven't they? I think they've always understood that their money could get Wrexham so far. The brand is growing worldwide. Yeah, I can tell you from my time at the BBC, Wrexham stories do massively well. It almost doesn't matter what they are. They do hugely well because they've got this brand abroad, a global brand. And they've always had, I think, Rob and Ryan, they've always had the thought, we haven't got the money to take Wrexham to the Premier League, but we can probably introduce people who have and get investment from others to come on board and join what is a successful growing unit. And I think that is. So whether it's this season or next season, whether it's with Parky or not, I don't see why Phil Parkinson's method shouldn't work in the Championship. I know there are people who doubt whether you can get up playing the way they do, but I don't see many other teams playing like Wrexham in the Championship. So maybe it's the exception that proves the rule. I mean, when Cardiff went up to the Premier League under Neil Warnock, I'm not comparing the two styles. You've got to say, there wasn't much style about the way Cardiff went up under Warnock. Warnock's teams don't play brilliant passing football. Coventry City probably do because that's the way Lampard has been brought up and that's the way Coventry play. Wrexham have got a different style, and I don't see with good players. I think they can make it almost doesn't matter what styles there are. Whether it's this season, I'm not so sure. I think top half will be fine for Wrexham this season, but eventually the way the club is growing, you mentioned about the guy coming in to Gus Williams coming in to sort of improve off the field matters. That's what they're doing. They're doing the same on the women's side as well, aren't they? They're building the club the way that clubs should be built from a low base. Okay, Wrexham got the history before, but they came in when the club were in the National League and they've just built gradually. They've outspent the other teams in the other leagues, but they've done what they had to do, and Phil has done it with that spending. And you've got to say, he may not get every signing right, but what I do like about the way he works is that when people leave, they don't seem to grumble. I mean, they've enjoyed the ride, and they seem to know, okay, it's time for me to go now, and off they go. So he stays on good terms with them. He must have something going for him like that. So I think it'll certainly happen one day. Swansea got there and stayed there. Now, whether you can stay there playing that sort of football, I remember when Cardiff went up under Warnock, I remember people saying, and actually I thought what they should have done was sack him and get somebody in who can coach in the Premier League. Maybe that could happen at Wrexham, but I don't see any reason why they can't eventually get to the Premier League, no matter how long it takes, because the club is on more and more of a firmer footing than it was.
Exciting times. Exciting times. That was a very stirring speech. That was Rob almost.
Well, mate,
You're our Michael Sheen.
Yeah.
No, but I feel I can look from the outside. I'll credit you boys. The talk when there was the early season talk about Phil Parkinson under pressure, I heard the same stuff. TalkSport even ran something about it, didn't they? And you got Sean Harvey on. Great scoop. If I'd still been at the BBC, I would have loved that interview because he killed it dead. You did a really good job. And so fair play to your podcast, Scoop the World then. But it's actually the way it was done and the way Harvey put it to rest, just what was wanted. And that's a sign of a club sort of knowing what it's doing.
Yeah, I'm taking notice of the narrative and the noise on the outside occasionally as well when they need to. So yeah.
Yeah, quite. Yeah.
Let's get to the let's make sure we don't get you on the fence here, Rob. Prediction time. Prediction time. Carabao Cup, last 16. Wrexham versus Cardiff. Their first meeting in far too long, let's be honest. As much as there's been banter flying both ways over this, we all say it, that the higher up the pyramid for all the Welsh clubs in the EFL, the better for Welsh football. However, let's dispense with that sentiment for Tuesday. Prediction, as you're our guest. Go for it.
Thanks a lot. That's the way to treat a guest, eh?
Yeah.
I I think probably Wrexham will have too much for Cardiff up there. Too much physicality. That said, they're going to have to work hard. It wouldn't surprise me if it went to penalties, but
Ours tend to. Our Carabao Cup games.
yeah, they do. Yeah,
tendency.
yeah. I mean, I was pleasantly surprised the way Cardiff went to Burnley and really took it to them. But I know now they will do the same. They are a good side. Their youngsters are good. They got pace down the flanks. It's going to be a good test. But I think Wrexham probably. I think I'd be stupid to say Cardiff are going to win, but I think Wrexham will probably do it 2-1, something like that, 2-0 maybe. I think they just have a bit too much firepower. I think Kiefer Moore, I'm assuming Phil Parkinson's going to go strong for the game. But I'll probably take terrible stick now. But hey, that's what you do. It happens. At least they can't say I'm biased towards Cardiff City, can I? Because I had that all through my career when I've never been a Cardiff fan.
It's called professional opinion. That's why we got you on, because I knew
All
you were
right,
a
okay,
Cardiff fan
mate.
or a
Yeah,
Wrexham
no,
fan.
I'll go 2-1, 2-0 Wrexham. But I do think Cardiff would give it a right go. And I'm not sitting on the fence. It wouldn't surprise me totally if they went up there and did a job, because on their day they're decent. But there is this, it's levels, isn't it? And Wrexham are playing championship and they're settling into the championship now. And was it 1 defeat in 8 now, is it? I think something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Andy, go on.
I think he will slightly rotate the team, and I think if Cardiff don't get a couple ahead, then I think what we bring off the bench will win it. And I think it could be we even spend a lot of the time behind in the game, but then I think he'll bring some quality players from the bench, like he did at Middlesbrough. And I think towards the end we'll grind them down a little bit, and I think a 2-1 victory for Wrexham.
Liam?
I fear I'm going to go down a similar route to everyone else, but I think that Cardiff will be really up for it. I know we'll be up for it, but I think there'll be a raucous noise from the Cardiff fans. I could see them pegging us back maybe early on, taking a 1-0 lead, but I really do hope, beyond hope, because I can remember some of those games early 2000s, and I used to hate losing to Cardiff, even though we did. I'm going to hope beyond hope that we get a 2-1 win.
Oh, there's consistency to this. Part of me wants to say, let it be 5-0 like Wrexham Women did to Aberystwyth today and absolutely smashed it in their joint top with Cardiff, by the way, in the Adran Premier. Literally same points tally, going really good. Great win. But I'm going to concur with everybody else here. I'm going to go same as this in the backdrop behind me. Welsh Cup 1995, 2-1. I'm going to go for exactly the same then. 2-1
Unanimous.
Unanimous, but instead of a Gary Bennett double, it's going to be a Nathan Broadhead double. How do we like that? A bit of that. I don't think Kiefer Moore's going to score against one of his former teams.
Oh, he has done before. Let me tell you.
Yeah, would he have scored for Sheffield United against them potentially?
He did. I'm pretty certain he scored for Wigan against them. I do think he's got goals against Cardiff in the past, and yeah. I mean, I do, as I said to you earlier, I do rate Kiefer Moore. I do rate Broadhead, even though I don't know his best position in the front line. I just know he's effective when he's in that front line. So
I'm just,
Yeah.
I'm just hoping that I think it's been proven in the past where Parky always does his research as to what games really matter to Wrexham fans, whether it's Shrewsbury, whether it's Tranmere, whether whoever it may be. And I don't think that the magnitude of this game is going to be lost on him either. That's why I hope and pray he's going to go strong. Hope he doesn't have a Dean Keats moment like we did in the Cup at Rangers, where he played like loads of 15-year-olds, and I was like, "What are you doing?" So I think he will go strong. I think you got a point about the physicality. I just wonder Cardiff might have a bit more pace depending on who they start
They
with.
will look very young compared to the Wrexham team, put it that way.
Yeah.
Then he is not afraid to throw in teenagers. I mean, their backline is really young. If I don't think Joel Bagan is likely to be fit at left back, so he may play the Welsh international Kapaki, who's 19, flies up and down that side. And if he does, then Perry and G will be right back, and that will increase the age of the back line a bit. But he has been going with a back line of, well, he's been going with a team sometimes as low as 22, 23 average age. He's not afraid. I think Joel Colwell may come in on Tuesday because he didn't start. So that will lower the midfield age as well. So it's going to be intriguing.
Rob, it's been an absolute delight and a pleasure as always.
Thank you. Anytime.
Tell everybody where they can find you now, because you've got a relatively new pod which you're doing with Mr. Nathan Blake. Tell everybody what it is, where they can find it.
It's the Rob and Blakey Commentary Box podcast. We are like yourselves.
Catchy.
Oh yeah, we're loud and clear on Welsh football. Did you know?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, we're doing our best. It's been brilliant. I love doing it. We are in association with the University of South Wales. We got a lovely set, I got to say. We're recording Wednesday, so we're going to have a full debrief on Wrexham Cardiff, plus the women's game the night before as well. And yeah, it's going really well. I'm enjoying it. And when we go out on the road, we're hoping to get to Wrexham, so you boys will have an invite as well.
Yeah, we've been listening in regular, Rob, enjoying it.
Cheers, thank you. And I listen to yours. Otherwise, I wouldn't have known about Sean Harvey. No, I do. I listen to a lot of the club podcasts now, just for my own benefit going into our podcast.
Yeah.
So good stuff. The more the better, I think. It's really good.
Great stuff.
Cheers, Rob.
Rob, thank you so much. If you agree with the comments on here in terms of score predictions, drop your score prediction into the comments. Like, subscribe, share, all that jazz. But until midweek, yeah, we'll have to have a midweek one because we play Coventry on Friday. So we'll be back on Wednesday or Thursday, probably Wednesday. So
don't want to clash with Rob too much, though.
No, we don't. Yeah, we can't compete with the big boys. Let's know our place. Let's know
you are well settled in. Don't worry, we've got a long way to go before we catch you. Don't worry.
Behave.
He says that to all the Wrexham-based podcasts. Will you say it to Rob Ryan Red next week?
I've been invited on there. I'm doing Wrexham TV tomorrow. Did you know that?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, in fact, the two of us are on Wrexham TV tomorrow. So
there you
nice.
go.
Probably say Cardiff will win on that.
It's all happening, isn't it? It's all happening. Right, I think that's everything for this week, isn't it? So yeah,
I think
yeah.
I mean, you touched on it. 5-0 for the women. Goals for Rosie Hughes, Lily Jones, Jodie Bartle, and then Katie Barker scored 2. And on top of Gus Williams coming in, the ladies team have brought in Mark Swales, who is director of football. Now that is a very, very big signing to bring in. It shows how their commitment to the women's team.
His history with the FA and I think it was Chelsea's academy as well. That is big time. That is big time. And that is a statement recruitment, I would say.
Yeah. Rob, just while you're on, do you think it's paving the way to maybe them looking towards the English system eventually?
Yeah, all I'd say is that Gwalia are playing the English system now, and it hasn't really taken off for them, I would say. Wow. They're the other Cardiff-based team. I understand why people say that. I think, and I do think the FAW have shown in the past that they can't stop clubs going into England or playing in the English system, should we say. They tried to lure everybody back just a few months ago, which I thought was a ridiculous idea. And it soon died a death. So, but on the women's side, I can understand the attraction. All I would say is that the FAW are really putting a lot of emphasis on building the women's game in Wales. And I think they would be loath to see that happen. And while they've got Wrexham, Cardiff, and Swansea, and Newport don't have a women's team, then I think they will feel there's plenty to build around as well. TNS have devoted a fair bit of resources to it. So, yeah, I can understand why you say that. I cannot see Cardiff and Swansea going into the English system if they can help it. Whether Wrexham have a different thought on that, and whether Sean Harvey thinks with his links that might be preferable, we shall see. I hope not, because I do think that bar the 4 clubs plus Merthyr, I do think that Wales needs to develop its sort of football structure within Wales. And then if players are good enough, bit like, it's not like the rugby where they don't like them going abroad, and if they do, they've got to have a cap rule to play for Wales. I've never seen the point of that. Imagine Gareth Bale not going to Real Madrid in football.
Yeah.
So if the best players go across to play in England and make the Wales national team better, fine. But if they can develop a better structure in Wales, then I'm all for that.
Cool.
Top
Good.
man.
It's always a divisive issue, that. I'm sure I'm
It is, yeah.
For even asking the question, but I think it's a valid question because it shows how serious they are with the women's team. Right. Yeah. I think that's it. Any other business?
No, on that bombshell. I think that's
happy birthday in advance to the next Phillips child, whoever sees that balloon scenario in your kitchen.
Hang on, at my age, I'm not having any more. Don't worry about it.
Rob, thank you so much.
Cheers, boys. Really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Cheers everyone.